If it says that I'm live, I must be live. Good morning, everyone. It is I, Tom Bloom from Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, live from my hotel room in Atlanta on the final day of Dragon Con, which is also Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. Maybe some of you have slept in this morning because you did not have to work today. Maybe some of you had to work today because of everyone else who is not working today. I am working today, and I admit that after several days of working at the convention and doing everything for Dragon Con, I woke up this morning and I laid there for an extra several minutes thinking, this must not happen. But, immediately following that awareness is the very adult knowledge that it is happening. And in fact, it must happen. And also that once it began happening, I would likely roll along with it and discover that it was actually just fine. And you know what? That turned out to be true. And despite how much pizza I ate last night and how sore every part of my body is, I got ready this morning and I looked in the mirror and I thought, it's actually fine. I feel like I did it. So good morning to you and to you and to you, the three people who have joined the live, and you watching in the future citizens. Good morning to you, regardless of what time of day it is. I covered the dragons. I covered the peaches. Oh, my hair is fantastically backlit. I really did lean into like Spectre emerging out of the light to welcome you into the afterlife. Good morning, Carol Ann. The coffee's hot. The bacon is sizzling. No, not here. Nope, bacon this morning. Just a big to-go bag of perfumes. For we have reached the point in the weekend where I have nothing left to sell you from the virtual con, which is still happening. You can still buy the Dragon Con scents, the peaches, the dragons, the nail polish that we released online. All of that through today, and get your con swag and participate in the fun if you want. And if you're here at Dragon Con, and if you are, I don't know why you're awake or would bother watching this when you can just come to the booth and smell everything yourself. But we do have a mighty treasure trove of Halloween 2025 perfume oils available in person. And we are, in fact, out of a lot of them because people were very excited about them and bought them all. And that is so gratifying to me because up until very recently before the convention, a lot of these perfume oils only existed in the form of a Google document or a Dropbox file of art, or whispers and suggestions and insinuations. And then truly, for our team, Halloween kind of never stops because I have, anxiety about the collection. Basically, as soon as this one goes up, I'll start jotting down notes about next year. You never know if you're gonna need those notes. Sometimes there's just like all big ideas or things happen or it's just like very obvious what should be done. But I hate the idea of getting to like July and looking at a completely blank canvas and Beth and I realizing how busy the next few months are gonna be, and it's like at some point a whole major collection has to like uncover itself. So it's always nice if there's stuff ready to go. And especially now that we've been previewing stuff at Dragon Con, that gives me extra incentive sometime around June, right around the time when Halloween is starting to show up in stores. And I know there's like a big pop for that because people are happy to see it because Halloween is coming. We are never going to be focusing on Halloween that early, in terms of like getting our collection up. And it's just not where our head's at. However, I love that kind of always gooses me every year to get the conversation going, and the team starts hatching little plans. And if there's art to commission, maybe this is a good time to start commissioning it. So in a way, I really do feel like we start with the Halloween spirit pretty early behind the scenes, and then getting to debut stuff here is just wonderful because there's this like actual gratification for months and sometimes years of work if there's stuff that we end up showing off that like didn't make the cut before. So seeing the actual art on the little bottles, you know, seeing them at the table, seeing people get excited about them at the table is just like, even if I'm just kind of like like observing from 10 feet away and watching it happen, very exciting to me. And then also because Beth is the monstrous brainiac whose nose and brain work together in actually crafting, formulating all of these scents. There's things I'll have been excited about for months to just find out, like, I know what it says it smells like, but what does that smell like actually in person on the skin? And I get to go on the same ride as everyone else. That's like one of those areas where foreknowledge doesn't even really benefit you that much, because it's like whatever lives in my head as an idea or description, you know, meets the actual reality of like what's in the bottle. So I was delayed on Friday because of hosting this workshop and then panel. I did not really get to do a proper Halloween sniff. And I had been like playing catch up a little bit over the last 2 days of working, but I haven't had like a quiet moment to sit and smell these myself. And truth be told, it would be better to save them until I get home for like a true scent review situation, partly because I will not be a like runt over carcass of somehow steaming and dried out like convention roadkill. But I know that Galen also would really love to get in there and smell these and share impressions. Like, he's very excited. Coming home with a big bag of Halloween stuff is like, I feel like Santa Claus, because I'm gonna walk in the door and everyone's just gonna like push the bags out of my arms so they can jump in and find out what the black eyeliner smells like, and so forth. So I figured this morning, informally, since you can't even buy these right now anyway online, it wouldn't hurt to just sit and smell until I start to die of hunger. And then pretty much at any point, I can just stop and mosey down to the booth. The other day I was like, I'm not working until I eat something with an egg in it. It's just like, I deserve this. I need something that like is breakfast coated. And then after walking around the convention hall for a while, trying to make that happen, I decided that I would compromise with chicken, because that is at least egg adjacent. And I ate convention hall chicken strips for breakfast, which I just needed. I just needed the protein. I was having very like Yellow Jackets attitude at that point towards survival, and I was like, if someone keels over in front of me, like, they could get nibbled. So that was grim. And then yesterday I was excited to not have to break vegetarian for breakfast by instead having a jalapeno vegetarian corn dog and tater tot basket for breakfast. And that sat so well on top of the 16-ounce Americano with oat milk that I had poured down my throat before. Just kidding, it didn't. So it is truly funny how food-wise, we're just like, it's seemingly everywhere, and then everything seems appealing for 5 minutes, and then you eat it and feel disgusting. And then I've been lucky because I've gotten to go out with the team for dinner and have some like very actually lovely meals that make me feel restored. But that was a long time ago already this morning. And, you know, now I'm about to plunge into the gourmand sense, which will, you know, smell better than they taste. They're certainly going to activate my hunger. I know that if I was asking people what they wanted me to smell out of this big bag of stuff, I'm gonna get like 100 different answers, because ultimately everyone wants to smell everything. And I really can't do that today because there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm just kind of like doing a bit of a rummage. Good morning. It's me, your afterlife usherette. You didn't survive the weekend. Okay, I'm just like laying stuff out in front of me so I can actually see it. You might be wondering, wouldn't that have been better to do before? And yeah, you're smarter than me. You can take that. You know, be like, it's a good day, like good way to start the day. Be like, maybe part of why we like look at the internet so early in the morning is just to remember that we're smarter than people out there on the internet. I did that, and now I'm helping you. Huh, how does the chair smell this morning? If you will, I will, I'm gonna go out of frame and smell the furniture. It smells completely normal. I figure that they know what they're doing. Like, I can't believe I actually put my face so close to this thing because I have no idea what kind of booty smooches it has encountered over its tenure as leather lounge overlooking the city with no dwelling windows facing. There's definitely been some probably a lap dance or 5. They're all laid out before me now. Fortunately, yeah, the room does not smell of perfume that I can tell, but I've been in the booth all weekend, so how would I know? The people who come in here after me will probably be like, why are we uncovering Cleopatra's tomb? It's just like Kaifi and frankincense and musty, musty queen stuff. I'll probably leave behind bits of jewelry and glamorous debris. Okay, so I'm gonna start with some of the stuff that we posted yesterday. I was just showing some of the new stuff. I'm not gonna smell all of the classic weenies that we have here because you know what they smell like. Probably, I don't have a side-by-side comparison. I can do that later. But let me open. So if you go to the bpal.org web forum, which all the cool kids have open as a tab on their computer, basically at all times, someone might update with a review of something you want to smell. And other people might be talking about something that you have no interest in. But I mean, honestly, how is that really different than real life? Let's see, one post to rule them all. I put the link to this thread in the description of the video because you can't buy this stuff, but at least the written descriptions are all there at the bottom underneath the Dragon Con stuff. Just keep scrolling. Okay, I am gonna go easily into this morning with something relatively, approachable. Gummy Fangs. Beautiful. Oh, you'll never see this. I wish I had some Gummy Fangs to pop in right now for the close-up. Maybe we'll do a whole photo shoot later. Beautiful Gummy Fangs. You've seen them in the store. They're probably better to smell than they are to eat. Let's be real. It says, with apologies to Bram Stoker, though sympathy alone can't alter facts, it can help make them more bearable. It's a Dracula quote. And so can a mouthful of Gummy Fangs. Daub your pulse points with the scent of chewy red fruit gums and shining white vanilla teeth. You gotta have candy scents for Halloween, or what are you doing? You're just not serious. The more serious you are about Halloween, the more you have to balance it with being fun and silly and a child at heart. So, what a lovely blend of both things. This is actually delightful. It's pretty much exactly what you might expect in terms of being a kind of a generally red fruity, did she just say? Yes, chewy red fruit gums could mean anything. It is the most beautifully nondescript red chewy fruit imaginable. I would say maybe a cherry pomegranate. Sometimes currant ends up being a good nondescript fruit because we Americans don't encounter them that often, and so but it does smell red and sweet. And then there is this beautiful puffy white vanilla backdrop that is not a sophisticated gourmand. It's like not a marshmallow per se, and it is like a white, that foamy gummy candy. That, delightful extruded foam product that would probably work just as well as like an industrial sealant or a barrier layer in mailer envelopes. But we eat it and we love it. Oh, yeah. What I like about this is the fruit is a bit darker than I would have expected. I mean, and that's appropriate because, but the soft part is nice and pillowy and soft, and it just smells like gummy candy. So I don't know. I'm not gonna like try to dress it up for you more than that. I figure you're in or you're out. It's me talking to the vampire at my window. You in or out? You need to stand. We can't stand. The breeze is coming in. If you're coming in, get it over with. Shut the door behind you, please. Beautiful. And now let's take a thrill ride straight to hell by following up that beautiful, reminiscent of childhood experience with plastic rats. We are, to my knowledge, the plastic rats perfume innovator. We are the luxury independent perfume studio responsible for taking people on an aesthetic voyage through so many periods of culture and through so many exotic, esoteric ingredients and beautiful, like subtle, nuanced aesthetic influences. And it all has crystallized in the year 2025 in a perfume that smells like plastic rats, or at least is inspired by the experience of enjoying plastic rats. And I do enjoy them. So we have had a big bag of them on some point years ago. I think maybe during the pandemic, Galen made a small stop motion, very simple, crude stop motion animation in my dollhouse of a plastic rat skittering past a bottle of snake oil. It's very cute. I will reshare it maybe today, and always at some point there will be another sharing of this because it's adorable. And so for some reason, I think at a thrift store I found just a really good bag of plastic rats that's like sealed, and it's like $1.99 or something. And I was like, oh, that'll come in handy because we'll do something with that. And then that itself, I think, was like 2 years ago. And it sat on the dollhouse, and I was like, Galen, we should do another stop motion with the plastic rats. He's like, yes. But life gets in the way. So then we had to move across country, and I was so frustrated because I don't want to like throw away the plastic rats before they've lived up to their potential. And I don't want to bury them in our like craft and, artistic materials thing where it's like, they will never happen. You'll find this, people handling my estate will find the plastic rats and be like, trash, I wanted them to remain present, so I packed them in a place prominently in our stuff. And then on the other side, cross country, they're on top of the dollhouse again, just waiting for I don't even know what. And Ashton was like, are we going to clean up around the dollhouse? And I was like, the plastic rats are for something, I promise. And then it all became clear that I needed to like see if I could make like at this point it's like throwing away what they say, throwing good money after bad, right? Like I've already invested so much. And so I lobbed the plastic rats into under Beth's nose just to see, if what might happen. And then sure enough, later when I was reviewing the Halloween stuff, I was like, it was still in there. And I was like, and then I like light the plastic rat signal for Galen back home. And I'm like, you better get to animating because she's coming home. So that's like some backstory that, you know, no one asked for. But the scent, gorgeous, gorgeous label, photo of plastic rats. It says, a tribute to the squeaky plastic rats that haunt every Halloween bin. Adorable little horrors with gleaming eyes and crooked tails, shiny black licorice, gray amber, and a dusting of smoky black pepper. This should kill, you know, some of the appetite problems I've been having here this morning. I will not feel tempted to eat the plastic rats. Maybe when I was a child, I probably would have chewed it, like bitten the tails off. I've been handing this to so many people at the convention to be like, hey, you want to smell something really interesting? In the bottle, there's a kind of like there is a decided, like, sort of plasticky opener, but not in like a really offensive, like Dollar Tree off-gassing way, just more like a kind of like a shiny surface. And then there is a impressively restrained licorice note, because sometimes that can be like a lot. Like sometimes you smell it and you're like, if that goes in my body, it will sink into my, you know, mitochondria, and it will suffuse my entire existence permanently. I bet it's probably this amber, because it does have like a softness. I think the amber is really helping mitigate that. And it says, I'm not getting a lot of black pepper in the bottle, although someone who smelled it at the booth was like, that was like all they were getting, which is impressive to me. If you're pepper sensitive, you know, plastic rats might be kind of a big one. Okay. I love that on the skin. I haven't tried this on the skin yet. On the skin, it's like the amber and the licorice are really like running side by side. It's like a gray rat and a black rat pulling the same chariot, you know? Which is really nice. It's not, the pepper makes it kind of a little lively, but it's not like cough, cough, splutter, splutter, you know, nor am I getting like a kind of a burny pepper like reaction to it. I really like this. I know that I'm a shill. I love there's like the ink feather scent that we did for Spiritus Arcanum a couple years back. I really liked that one as a more kind of like beautiful, spooky licorice note. This is like actually very wearable and cuddly though. And I like that it has pulled back from being like a real gourmand. It just wouldn't be appropriate for plastic rats. On the skin, I'll say that it just doesn't seem super plasticky. It's just that it does have, I think, again, something about the quality of that amber that suggests like it's neither a living thing nor an edible thing. It is some other thing. And it's got like a kind of a nice coolness as opposed to like a living rat. I really like to sit and give a scent like this the overthink that I think it truly deserves, considering how much time we spent building up to making it. It's just really nice. So if you are a fan of licorice scents, I think that you should try it. If you're not a fan of licorice scents, I also think you should try it if you get the chance, because, you know, you just got to keep challenging yourself. I really should smell dark macadamia, because that one sold out at the booth. And I did honestly not expect that to be such a big seller. And I guess go for the fall collection, I should plan on us having to make a lot of this, because people grabbed it up. So if you're not in the know, if you're not part of like fandoms online, etc. You might not know the pun on dark academia, which is a kind of like a subculture slash aesthetic slash genre. Is there a term for what dark academia is? It's just like a category of everything. And of course, we've done a macadamia nut pun on the thing. So there was some in-house discussion about whether it should be dark macadamia or dark macadamia, and which version would sell the joke and describe the, get like, the nut. Like, anyway, we got like as pedantic with it as seems befitting a scent like this. So the description says, these are dark times indeed, so here's a gourmand for the brooding scholar. The warm, nutty richness of roasted macadamia, stomach growls, folded into the dry, papery musk of time-worn tomes bound in crackled leather, golden drips of beeswax candlelight flickering against polished teakwood shelves, while the smoky warmth of fireplace smoke, there's a redundancy there that I think will be smoothed out by the time this is on the website, lingers in the air. Great. And there's like a photo of, it's like I actually harvested a historical photo of the Yale Law School library from the 1870s, which is appropriately spooky and seems cursed. One of my favorite perfumes that remains like unreleased is the Goblin Sack perfume that came with the Bee Pal Goblin statue many times ago, many a trine in the past. And this reminds me of that. That was a hazelnut. This is a macadamia. Beautiful, warm, rich, nutty kind of glow. I'm definitely getting some smoke and maybe a bit of the leather and stuff, but in the bottle it is like actually pretty impressively gourmand. It's like the library and the dining hall are just like, in the same sector, and you could stand in the hallway between them and maybe be able to smell both at the same time. I love that I'm getting like a sense of furniture. That's what I get. Fancy private school furniture. I'll tuck you away back there. I like a scent where the gourmand aspect and then the atmospheric or setting or whatever other aspect kind of run neck and neck. Over the years, we've done a lot of really we do a lot of solid gourmands and then a lot of mix of it's just like, it's never just like eating something, it's like eating something at location under environmental conditions. And this is really like that because there's definitely something in this that I would like to eat. But this perfume is really not all about the eating. It's giving me all of those like 4-hour YouTube videos that are some kind of like, it's like music playing in another room, haunted library, 10 hours with music playing in another room. And then there's just like, a beautiful fireplace and books and whatever, and tea steaming, and it's just kind of like meant to be like a backdrop for sleep or studying or cozy times. And the tea never stops steaming even for 4 hours, and then every now and then through the window like a ghost floats by. Those videos are everywhere on YouTube and we've watched all of them. And this truly is the scent of that experience. So maybe later we'll share like a series of some really good ones that you can watch while you're wearing your dark macadamia perfume. There's no one element of this that is like interfering with any other. It's not too smoky, it's not too leathery, it's not too beeswaxy, because for some reason I don't love beeswax scents on the skin, but this wouldn't bother me at all. It really is a beautiful part of a whole picture. this is kind of what I wish, like, I had, like, a candle that smelled like this, and it's so funny because when we go smelling candles, a lot of them are just, like, completely nasty. And then, or, like, there's just one element that is just, like, if you imagine it filling the whole room, you this just must not happen. Maybe, oh, I'm like, oh, I should wear this at the booth today. As if I will be able to smell anything. Oh, just lovely. Okay, well, I'm very excited about that one. I see that I have 10 people watching live. And it's funny because normally we're in the living room, and I can imagine that, like, you're sitting in front of me in our living room, but where I'm sitting now is facing the window looking out over downtown Atlanta. And so if we were sitting and having a conversation like this, you would be like hovering in the air, like outside my window, like the Lost Boys. Which is fine. I welcome you. I cannot let you in because these windows are jumper proof. So they're also vampire proof, and I think they should include that in their, you know, web advertisements. I would like to dip into the Halloween flash sheet perfume oils. Is that crazy? I don't know if I should do all of them or if I should save some of it, but like, I'm really excited about this collection. John Herndon, who was in the band Tortoise, is in the band Tortoise because Tortoise is alive and doing tours and stuff. John Herndon is a wonderful artist, and he's the tattoo artist who did the illustrations for our 420 blacklight posters a couple of years ago. Just like beautifully nutty little flash style tattoo illustrations, and putting together this collection of Halloween flash sheet, which is just, they're like, all of the scents have a tattoo ink scent note, and we wanted flash artwork to accompany each of them. And so I reached out to John, and he sent me, and I love with like Drew and people like John, like a lot of our artists, it's so fun to just send an idea and be like, what can you do? And then they send back the art, and it's like, well, this certainly is what I asked for, unmistakably. But I had just like never, I knew it would be something I could not have imagined. And John delivered that 1,000%. Like seeing the, I can't really show you very well here, but like the devil artwork, and it's like one of the eyes is very squinty, and I'm like, is it winking or is it twitching? And it's just like so wonderfully deranged. They're all like that. I mean, the tarantula is probably like the least deranged and looks like the most like a classic sort of like traditional style artwork, although there's you can't see on the label as much on the web, but there's a little heart on the body, which is very sweet. And then the zombie, again, you can't really see here, but like it was so funny because like the lower jaw is missing and the tongue is just coming out of the neck, and I just like died laughing. And so Beth hadn't written this like scent for these yet. She hadn't described them, and I was like, I had the artwork and I wanted to send it to her so badly, but I couldn't because I wanted her to make these scents the way that for the tattoo, the flash sheet scents, I wanted her to develop the scents the way that she thought about it and like fantasized about the scent. I did not want her to transcribe these illustrations into scent per se. That was never the idea. I wanted like fun, cool, nutty art to accompany her creative vision. Does that make sense? Is that a piece of hair that is just like chronically backlit? Oh dear. So anyway, I got my wish, and then it was very fun to send her the artwork afterward and be like, this is what that scent is for. So they're very cute and wonderful, and people had really seemed to enjoy the ink note in like pomegranate ink and some of our other inky scents, and it seemed like a good idea to maybe like dive into it for Halloween because it's like a dark thing. So there's some backstory for you, some shop talk. So I'm gonna give these a superficial bottle sniff, right? I don't have time to test all these on the skin. Galen will want to help with that. Galen has been like at my elbow the whole time, giggling about all of the art and the labels and the whole idea. So it's only fair to include him. But I will go through and give these a superficial sniff, and we'll do this alphabetically, which is just my favorite way. So, Devil Flash. If you sign his black book, he'll give you a free stick and poke with his pitchfork. Haha! Tattoo ink steeped in infernal musk with a splash of brimstone cologne. I loved perfume. I love perfumes inspired by the devil, and I feel like the only person who loves them more than me is Beth. And so this just like is such a great setup for her, the way that I know she loves to roll. Having so many great like gourmands and ooky spooky cute little perfumes on the table, like the vintage kitties, which I will smell. It's so great to have a whole series here to show off at the convention that's like, yes, we will do the absinthe pancakes, and we've got like the fun little, you know, treats, but like these are dark. These are dark-sided. This is like a whole, like part of that other side of the Halloween thing. And I just think that's such a necessary thing to put out, and it's an exciting thing to show off. Because this is like tenebrous. Like the musk is actually really appealing. It's got this like beguiling sweetness, and there is just like this saw edge of the brimstone that keeps it gives it a Cenobite quality, right? Where it's like, oh, you know, the agony and the ecstasy. It's not super cologne-y in the bottle. I believe that the musk is probably just like stampeding over it right here. And I know the brimstone is going to want to come out to play more. But it really does smell of the devil, like kind of specifically kind of like a 70s B movie Satanism kind of devil. That's my thought, which is I think very appropriate for like classic tattoo stuff. Are kids getting like devil tattoos the way that they used to? Do they know that one of the things you're supposed to do to upset people is get a tattoo of the devil? I can hardly speak. I don't have a devil tattoo. I have like tattoos that upset people. I have, oh yeah, John, this is a tattoo of the clown poster. Like when he made that clown poster art years ago, and I was like, oh my God, I want that as a tattoo. It was so cute. And then, so I asked him if he would tattoo me, and I went to the shop, and he had printed out the stencil already, and it was so much larger than I was expecting. But I was actually very excited to have the challenge, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm really doing it. And I get a lot of beautiful compliments about the tattoo. People are excited about the clown, so. Anyway, really, yeah, interesting darks. Like, this really, truly, if it didn't have this silly illustration on it, it would be completely in place in something like one of the Spiritus Arcanum collections that are a more like serious, dark approach to witchcraft and diablerie. So it's cool to have something like that right up front in the Halloween series. And then I'll smell the skeleton flash. It says, no shoes, no skin, no problem. Scorched sandalwood and polished bone shards splattered with tattoo ink. I was a little scared of this one because I like the idea of the bone shards, but also some of like the bone smells are realistic in a way that scare me a little bit, where there's just that edge of like bone shards where I'm like, okay, it scares me. It's, I don't know, like there's just like the body thing, and like, you know, I'm like, as someone who's gone through like wisdom tooth surgery and smelled my own bone shards, I get a little like ergy about it, which is great territory for a perfumer to explore. But will that keep Skeleton Flash from being accessible to me? It's like perhaps, you know, primary target audience. We shall see. And yes, each of these perfumes is accompanied in the copy by a little joke, which you have to endure in order to get to the meat of the issue. Okay, so I'm not scared of this. It does not smell like getting wisdom tooth surgery. Okay, I was silly to be scared of it. This is beautiful. It's so funny. It's that ink note really just plunges this off into the darkness. You know, all of them, it's great to have this included. There's no getting around the fact, like, you can put whatever else you want in it, but like the black ink is like, it's a beautiful sandalwood. It's not super scorchy. Maybe it's because I just smelled a brimstone perfume that this doesn't smell super scorchy. It's got that hint of sweetness that I love in a sandalwood. And there, whatever the bone shards are, or it says polished bone shards, and that's funny because there is a kind of like a gloss to this, and like a kind of it's giving almost like old furniture. And then the tattoo ink just keeps any of this from being too, like, easygoing. I mean, ink is, we talked about this, I think, a little before. Ink is an industrial product, just like leather. It's the result of like chemical tinkering. So it's fair that there is like a sort of a, interesting man-made, like, chemically aspect to this. Not that this has like a chemical, you know what I mean? It's just not like a natural smell. Like with the old books, it's like you're smelling evidence of human civilization, which is just completely different than, an apple. I mean, we did basically make the apple, but you know what I mean. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna have a good time with that. I'm not scared of her anymore. Tarantula Flash. This is the one I saw a lot of people talking about because it is the most gourmand of the tattoo flash sheet, because it says, wish we had 8 arms, then we could get more sleeves. Tattoo ink, a fuzz with caramelized pumpkin pulp, bourbon, cranberry juice, sweet patchouli, and red peppercorns. It's like basically a gourmand with tattoo ink, and I'm happy because sometimes the spider scents that we do, similar to the bone shards, like some of the spider scents, whatever Beth is doing that smells like spiders does freak me out a little. Maybe I'm just psychologically vulnerable, especially to her. Ooh. So with this, there is like a bite of the ink in the bottle right off the bat. Big, fat tarantula bite. Unmistakably, though, it is backed up by this like sweet, jolly pumpkin. Sweet, jolly, boozy pumpkin. It's like spicy, jolly. I mean, like a classic Halloween-y, right? But with a bite of ink. And then I think the peppercorn is also contributing to that bite. I feel like the peppercorns and the tattoo ink have like teamed up to keep this from being too cozy. It's like kind of the idea too of getting like a tarantula tattoo. I was thinking about that. There's like arachnophobia is one of the most common fears, and if you have a spider tattooed on you, that is like, on some level, like, it is just an antisocial act because people are gonna see it and just be uncomfortable. And that is part of tattoo culture. If you're not making, it's just like, not a tattoo culture isn't like that necessarily anymore. A lot of tattoos are made to just like be beautiful or funny or sweet or cozy or inspire like good feelings, and that's beautiful. But like, and it's the ickiness and aggressiveness and antisocial thing is like inseparable from the history of tattooing. It just is. And I like that the tarantula flash kind of represents that, So, witch flash. Witch flash. Witch flash seems like a thing that happens to you when she like rides by on the broomstick and is like, eh. Have I talked in the past about how that happened to me when I was like 11? Not with a witch, but my friend and I were going into the local mom and pop video shop in our small town, and this biker rode by, and he had his like she-biker on the back of his hog, and they, roared past, and she totally like lifted up her shirt and flashed us, which in retrospect is a no hands on the bike move, which I should have respected more at the time, I think. I think she just had a good grip, lower body grip. But she totally just like flashed us, and it was funny because we are basically, though we have not reckoned with this yet, two very gay children. And I think that she thought she was giving like boys a thrill, and my friend and I just kind of looked at each other like awkwardly, like, "Ah," you know, thanks, I guess. It was an interesting anecdote that we told basically no one. Anyway, Witch Flash. Where am I? What was I doing? Okay. It says, it doesn't get more traditional than this. A cauldron of tattoo ink infused with sorceress roots and heady incense. A cauldron. This is like where the ink came from, not just for the rest of the tattoos, but like all the ink used today, basically, is just left over from the witches who made all of it. We've just been storing it. Ooh. This smells smokier in the bottle than the Devil Flash. It's so smoky and so rooty and pitch black. I know because I cheated and I did try this on at the booth, because you would do the same thing. Don't judge me. You would do the exact same thing. I tried it on, and I noticed that once the kind of singe of this wore off on my skin, that immediately I noticed that the incense was sweeter than I expected, in the same way that I recognized from Scarecrow Boy Toy from the Dr. Caligari series, which is kind of frighteningly like smoky and musty, and then you get it on the skin and it's just like a really sweet, thick, resinous incense, like tar, which helps with the burn. You know what I mean? So there's a little aftercare in this one. I don't know if it's myrrh, like a sweet myrrh ultimately, but like pitch black. Beautiful, goopy mess. In the bottle, though, it has an impressive scorch to it. Scorcherous. The roots are not just sorceress, but they're scorcherous. So it's cool, too, that the witch isn't like, you know, the sweet one. The tarantula is like the cuddly sweet perfume, and the witch is like, she's like I feel like really, truly the scariest person in this whole batch. Witches run the world. I know this because I've seen both of the Suspiria movies multiple times. And that leaves us with Zombie Flash. Zombie Flash. Just imagine all the tattoos hidden below you as you walk through the cemetery. Maybe you'll get to see some of them in person one day. Did people get that? I mean, it's not really a joke, but it's just kind of a fun, creepy thought. Like, have you thought about this? Like, walking through the cemetery, and it's like people have tattoos and then they die, and then like there's just tattoos underground all over the cemetery, right? And then I was thinking, I don't know if this has been really well represented in zombie movies, but like, you know, zombies coming back from the dead means like, you know, tattooed, like undead tattoos. Also, that's kind of funny because people do get zombie tattoos, and so there could be a zombie out there with a zombie tattoo, and that is just so meta. Anyway, the scent is grave loam, mushrooms, Spanish moss, a smear of ink, and a blob of brains. This one gave me pause. I admire a lot of the like really mushroomy, mossy scents, but I don't really wear them. It's not necessarily part of my fantasy. And then of course, like, you know, things like brains and whatnot. Brains and mushrooms in the same scent. Like, I feel like, talk about antisocial. So in the bottle, I was a little surprised because this is like surprisingly soft. It's like there's a hint of sweetness. It's definitely got that like the Spanish moss. It's got that like beautiful swaying Spanish moss. It's like ultimately grave loam and mushrooms and Spanish moss that's like a kind of an intense visual, but these are like softer scent notes. And I was like, wait a second, the zombie scent is actually kind of nice. You know what I mean? Like, I know I don't feel threatened. I don't feel like something is like battering at my nailed shut door or like trying to like get me, Barbara. It's not coming to get me, Barbara. It just wants to be left alone. Blob of brains, I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what it is. Like, there is maybe like a hint of like sweetness in here, and I can't tell if it might translate to like a blood note. I'm gonna ask Beth what that means. I should have been like, even when I read this, I feel like I was not critical enough, and I should have immediately wrote to her and been like, okay, wait, let's talk. When you say the perfume has a scent note that is a blob of brains, what does that mean? So hopefully by the time that we meet again and smell these on the skin, I will have learned some things. I would like to be useful to you, you know, to reward your loyalty or your patience or your like scrolling elsewhere on your phone while listening to this dimly in the background with some real hard-hitting perfume journalism. So yeah, it's a beautiful, kind of soft, earthy, approachable, you know? He's not so bad. I'm sure, you know, don't let the tongue coming out of the neck fool you. He's all right. Now, I really kind of need to wind down. I have to go to the booth. It's been about 50 minutes. We're closing in on an hour. I cannot smell all of the perfumes. I cannot. But I did promise that I would smell the Vintage Kitty blow mold. I did. I did. And I always make good on my promises. Oh, I should smell the black eyeliner too. Again, though, Galen will want to smell it, and it's not like it's for sale. And you know you're probably going to buy it anyway. So maybe we'll get there later. Vintage Kitty blow molds, on the other hand. So this is an elaboration on our ongoing series of blow mold fragrances inspired by the big plastic shell yard or home decorations that often light up. And this one is cute little kitties, a black kitty and an orange kitty. I took this photo because Oddmart, the place where we do our lunacy events in Minneapolis, sells a lot of cool decor and Halloween stuff year round and had these kitties, and I wasn't gonna propose any more blow mold scents this year because we've just been kind of doing it, and I know people love it, but what if there were other things that they love? But anyway, this orange kitty was just like, I wanted to buy it. It was just so sweet. And then there was a black one that was identical to it. And they ended up in the same photo. I have to bring Brad at Oddmart a bottle of this to thank him for letting me photograph merchandise in the store with the intent of making our own money from it without buying it, incidentally. So thank you, Brad, and you will be getting your complimentary Vintage Kitty blow molds perfume to thank you for your service to our creative process. Beth's take on the subject matter is hollow plastic shells of mango sherbet and musky black clove echoing with a ghostly meow of glowing amber. The ghostly meow really reminds me of, do you remember the 1958 movie The Fly? Before flying himself, the scientist practices his teleporter without consulting anyone, without talking to his wife. He practices on the family cat and teleports the cat, and it does not come out on the other side, and he has no idea where it is. And though he then hears a strange, like, meow, like somewhere in the ether. The cat's name is Dandelo, and we never find out what happened to Dandelo. The plot moves on. The stakes are raised. It's not like Chekhov's Dandelo, where like he's saved in the end by like his like ghost cat or whatever. Anyway, I think about that disembodied meowing a lot, and now here it is in a fragrance. So we got orange and black plastic cats represented by mango sherbet and musky black clove. The musk, of course, cementing this as a cat smell. Musk and amber turn up a lot in the Felis Sylvestris Catus series that we have about cats in fine art. It's like musk and amber are just kind of, I think, Beth's part of her palette that she paints from in scent when depicting cats in art. So this is a fun kind of Halloween continuation of that series with just like more like, I mean, blow molds aren't like pop art, exactly. They are when you turn them into a perfume. The perfume is pop art. I like that this is kind of like a campy, sweet take on like the kind of decor that we just are so used to seeing that we don't even really think about it anymore. I can smell, I actually put, oh, it's so funny. I put this on instinctively without even sniffing it, and I can already smell it on my arm. In the bottle, just like a beautiful bright orange shine of mango. I mean, it smells like a mango lassi. Of course, there is this like clove coming up from underneath, and mango and clove is a combo I just would not have fathomed previously. I can smell everything in the description, and they're all just kind of jostling in there together in a really beautiful, jovial way. I love that it has like a brightness and it has like a darkness. But overall, it's extremely soft and extremely smooth in a way that's kind of befitting this kind of like no hard lines, blow mold aesthetic. You know, it's just like, we love them because of how appealing, like the curvature and this, like, I don't know, the art style, it's just like very, if it was like a stone statue, there's something about knowing that it's hollow that makes like the level of detail and the curvature and everything really satisfying. I love that there's like a dark mango scent in our catalog now. I think that Fancy Pups had a mango. And that also had like a leather, and so maybe this is the second mango, and that's funny because that one was like pup inspired, human pups, but still, and this is kitty cat inspired. The plasticiness, like the like lovely amber and musk, have contributed to keeping this from being like a gourmand mango clove, like, I don't know what that would be, like a mango clove salad or smoothie or whatever, candy bar. So yeah, there's that wonderful kind of like smells like decorating for Halloween, and it's hard to explain because I can't imagine, like, I mean, clove perhaps, but like mango is not like a present, like a scent we associate with Halloween. But it's like the sweetness and the orange, the unmistakable orangeness and blackness of it that automatically send it into Halloween territory. And it does have a kind of like a breathy, like luminous quality where it's just kind of giving off an aura. I could, you know, from down here I was getting it. And it's just kind of like bright and shiny and jolly and dark and fuzzy, and definitely somehow immediately conjures childhood memories of Halloween, despite the fact that I did not have one of these cats and have never smelled anything like this before. So that's wonderful. It has a bit of a candy dish smell. And yet, of course, like I said, like, this is not for eating thing. I don't know, that's so weird. I love that, like, the materials of childhood Halloween, where it's like the cardboard and the plastic and the candy and the pumpkin and the candles and like all of the stuff kind of all is mixed in a swirl in memory. And that's why I think some of like the super specific scents, that it's like, you know, pumpkin spice, and it's like, yes, that's great, and it does like convey a certain sense of time and place and whatever, but it doesn't exactly conjure the memories the way like a mixture does. And so there's like, that's, I think, a real artistry to that, and it's beautifully well done. That is the sword and shield I will carry into today's festivities. The booth is going to be opening, oh god, in about 25 minutes, and that's enough time for me to haul my buns down there. Fortunately, I do not have any of our testers with me today, so I don't technically have to be there on time. And maybe I will stop and actually find something with an egg in it somewhere. But yeah, I think I'm gonna pause here and go try to slay this last day. Very grateful to those who've been keeping along. I think I started, I don't think, did I live stream Peaches last year at Dragon Con, and then I did also do hotel live streams in New York for Comic-Con, and it's funny because this has become built into my kind of like worksheet of stuff I need to do when I'm here. And I love that because it gives me something to do, and I'm well socialized by the time I show up at the booth and actually have to talk to people. Um, it does kind of like also help me decide to be responsible the night before, because everyone, it's like there's parties raging all over, and I'm just like, yes, I would love to have fun, but it's 11:30 and I know that at around 8 a.m. I'm gonna be expected to like twinkle a little bit. I have to have cogent thoughts. So I like having an excuse to be more of a grown up and do grown up con stuff. I like having the early morning shift. I like catching people in the morning. That's why it's kind of hard for me and Galen to film sometimes, because those are like midday affairs usually, and it's by then it's like it's hot outside, so turning off the AC is more of a consideration. It's like, do we do it before lunch? Do we do it after lunch? I'm already tired because I got up at 6 a.m. and have been working. So I wish that we could do more early morning live streams, but he's a slug of bed and does not rise early or quickly. So maybe as we dig into some of this stuff in the coming months, I'll kind of like alternate, and we'll do some stuff with him when he, graces us with his presence later in the morning, and then I'll do some stuff maybe in the morning after Ashton leaves for work and then before Galen is up. So we'll see. But the point is, we have a lot of Halloween to cover. There's going to be lunacy stuff. There's going to be other stuff. And want to make sure that we at least try to describe as much of it as possible. And I mean, it's kind of pointless an hour in to say so. But those of you who have been buying the Halloween stuff, as well as the Dragon Con stuff, you have this rare opportunity to write reviews in the bpal.org web forum that everyone will read. Out of, if nothing else, complete lack of information and input about what these perfumes smell like. So I really want to urge people, if you bought these or got to sample them, to jot down even a short review, because that means when we finally launch them, folks will have something to go on, and you will have performed a great service to your spooky community. So with that, I leave you. Thank you so much, and we'll be seeing you again soon. And some of you I might even see today. So hello, goodbye.